Hey V Squad, welcome to another episode of the Vgirl podcast. I am your host V, and I'm here with my co-host Tanisha, bringing you the latest per usual. You know we always have a lot to say. Hey Tanisha, girl, what is going on?
Hey girl, and hey all V girls. How are you guys? How's everybody? How are you?
And you know we got our V boys out there too. You know they be all up in the mix listening.
Really?
Re-
Okay. Well, hey V boys.
So Tanisha, what is going on? You know we are in quarantine, which is like for me, I'm just like exhausted. I want to go outside so bad, but.
Yeah, I want to go outside too, but honestly, this was like a really good break for me. I'm kind of happy about it. I worked a lot November, December, January, and February. I worked so much. March, I was actually on vacation, and then this happens. So yeah, I've been
Definitely
off
a
since
much needed break.
March.
Definitely a much needed break. Um,
Yeah.
so you know, everybody, I'm quite sure they're like, all right, girls, let's just get into the topic. We don't care about what you got going on because y'all
It
wicked.
is a spicy topic. It is
It is definitely
definitely a spicy
spicy.
topic.
It's definitely spicy. Okay, so I was talking to one of my friends, actually, two different people, two different friends of mine. One has a child, the other one does not have a child, and both of them said, and you know what, I can totally understand them saying that they would not date a guy or a man with kids. And I know that you don't have any kids yet. So what is your stance on that topic?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely changed. Before, it was a solid no. I was just like, no. And I think it really has to do with age.
Hmm.
Sometimes you're not ready for that. It depends on where you are in your life. So when I was about 22, 23, 24, dating a guy with kids and not having a child at that age, it's like, maybe you're not ready to commit to something like that. Because once you are serious with this person, then you have to be like serious with their kids too, and you got to take in
Yeah.
accountability your behavior and everything when it comes down to it. And you're just dating, you know what I mean? Like sometimes. So for me personally, I can only speak from myself and my own experience. When I did decide that I would talk to a guy with kids, because I always like to go for an older guy. So by the time I was about 28, I'm talking to guys that are like 32, and they already have kids, 32, 33, they start having kids by then, and even before. But I'm just saying, at about that age group that I was dating in. And it never worked out. It only one guy I was willing to bend the rules, but then with that, and that was last year, so I was 29. And even with that, there's an age limit. You see, there's no way I'm talking to you if you have a child that's under 6. And 6
Girl,
is young to me.
girl.
Okay. The guy that I was talking to, kids was 15. So we were like, okay, cool. He had actually made it very clear to me that he's like, yo, listen, my kids are in my life. They lived with him, but they didn't even want to hang out with him anymore because they're like 16, 17. And he's like, you know what I mean?
No,
I
definitely.
don't
Yeah.
really want to hear that me and you are hanging out on the weekends and you're like, oh, I might have my son this weekend. I'm just like, I don't even want to hear that next. And,
No.
it's not even right, but it's also like, even with my homegirls, if you have a child, and this had happened to me where my friend, we were on the same age, she ended up having a child, the dynamics of our relationship changed. You have to do, you know what I mean? You have mommy duties. You got to worry about a babysitter if you go out. You kind of don't even want to do some of the things that we used to do.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's the same thing with a guy. He has to go home. He has to go home to his kids, or he got to wake up early tomorrow to wake up for his kids. And me personally, no, I'm not dating a child with a baby. I mean, I'm sorry, a guy with a baby.
Okay, so this is my stance on things or whatever, because obviously I have a child and I can see it from both perspectives because
Okay.
I remember when I was like younger, I think Amir probably was maybe like, I want to say maybe like 2 or 3. I was
Mm-hmm.
dating this guy who he was really, really cool or whatever. Um, I think he was probably maybe like a year older than I was. And he had 3 kids at the time. So he had the oldest, I want to say at the time, maybe was like 12 or 13, maybe. And then he had a middle child with someone else, right? And that child was also older. And then he had another child, which was the youngest. And at the time, she probably was maybe like 1 or 2 at the time, but he was no longer with the baby mother. So the first,
See, no, but go
so
ahead.
so the oldest one and the youngest one were had the same mother, and then he had like a break baby. I hate calling the child a break baby, but he had a break child that was in the middle, right? And
Okay.
what strained our relationship mostly was because the baby mother. Oh, and I feel, and this is the thing, like it's so crazy because I've even seen Passport Cuddy make a video about this. These baby mothers, they feel so entitled. They feel like because and I can say that because I am also someone's baby mother, but I don't act that way. You know what I'm saying? So for me, it bothers me when you have a woman who feels like just because she has a child by you, that you have to be on her beck and call. So if she says, "Oh, I need this," "Oh, you have to jump and you have to do this." If we're out on a date and it's me and you, she's calling at all random hours of the night and using the child as an excuse. And then those men that want to be involved in their child's life, which I'm not saying that you shouldn't be involved in your child's life, you start bending over backwards and you're doing all these things to please them. And then it's like, okay, then what about our relationship? You know what I'm saying? So for me personally, like I feel like even with me having a child, I find it very difficult to even date a man with small children as well.
Yes, I would totally agree with that. And a lot of times it's like really just I can think of a lot of different scenarios and everything is like but and oh and like I just have so much. For me, I can only speak for myself. I can't do it. If the child is younger than 6, and even 6, 6 is still young. Um, but whatever. But no, I can't do it.
So
I
does it
can't
make
date a guy.
would it make your dating pool a little bit smaller now? Because now we have, and this is
Absolutely.
the thing with us black women, okay? Because I'm gonna say that I'm black. I am black. I'm a black woman. We're a black woman. Number one, we have already slim pickings, okay?
Yes, we do.
So let's just keep it 100, okay? So you got 100% of the male population in general, right? Let's just say
Okay.
50% of that male population. Okay, 50 is a lot. Let's say 30%
It's
of
gay.
that. No, they're in jail. That's what I was gonna
Ooh,
say.
dang, that's a big chunk in Joe. You think so?
Just hypothetically speaking, I'm
Okay,
not.
all right, we'll continue. Go ahead. 30%
Let's
in
just
jail.
say, because I didn't pull out the stats of how many of them are in jail. But let's say,
No, no, no. I didn't think so. I still just think like even just like theoretically speaking, like just for this argument purposes, I still
yeah,
think that that's a high number.
you
But go ahead.
okay?
No, 30 is
Okay,
fine.
so let's put 20% then. Okay,
Okay.
all right. So let's say 20% is in jail. So that leaves us with 80%, right?
Mhm.
Out of those 80%, 40% is gay. Okay.
Ooh, your
Yes,
numbers is steep, girl. But go
because it
ahead.
is what it is. Let's just say either
Go
gay
up.
they let's just say
What percent though is gay?
all right. Let's do 30%, okay? Let's
Right.
do 30%, okay? So the
Not
80% and
bad.
then the 30% is gay, right? So that leaves us with 50%. So now we only can choose 50. We only have half of the men to choose from at this point, okay?
Between gay and being jail. Okay. I
Between
mean,
gay and
yeah.
be okay, between gay and be in jail. So that leaves us with 50%. Okay, so now most black women are very what's the word I want to say? We are prepared. We're in school. We're working. We have really good jobs. We're doing well for ourselves. We're independent. We don't necessarily need a man. Correct?
Okay.
Okay. Let's just say that. So that out of that 50%, let's just say another 20% of those men are not on our level financially, mentally, physically, educate like education wise, all that good stuff. So that leaves us with only 30%. We only have a small piece of the pie at this point, see, because the dating pool gets smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. Okay, so now you have 30%. Okay, out of those 30% of the males, let's say that 10% of those males don't like black women. So that leaves us with
Yes.
20%. Okay,
Yep.
okay, don't like black women.
Yeah. So we're not even their type.
Okay, we're not their type. They like every other race but us. So that leaves us only with 20% of black males to
And
choose
then
from.
10% of them is not even my type.
Okay,
Let's just
and
keep
then
it clear. You can
let's
have your
say
type, but I gotta have my type too.
so
So
20% of those men now are no longer. I mean, not 20%. 10% of the 20% now. we are not, well, I mean, we could still include that in the 30% of the men that's not really, not
Oh,
on our
okay.
standards, okay?
Yeah,
So that
got
still
it.
leaves us with just 20%. So out of
Okay.
those 20%, let's say 10% of those men have kids.
Mhm.
So that leaves your dating pool at only 10%. That is 1% of the population that you can choose from to date. Not even, I didn't even mention, okay, so now out of that 10%, let's say 5% is married. So now you only have 5% because out of the 10%, they either married or already in a relationship. Okay. So now you only have 5% of the men to choose from in the
This is
whole.
a hell of a breakdown, girl. Yeah, it's quite depressing. I'm like, whoo, child. Okay, how old is your kids again? Let's revisit these guys. Like,
Exactly.
six?
Exactly.
You said
Exactly.
turning 6 in May?
Yes. 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 So then you find yourself like bending over, like, you know what? Okay, fine. Maybe it's not bad like that or whatever. Maybe I'm gonna give this guy a chance because I
Yeah.
find myself in many situations where I'm like, all right, well, this may not, and I don't want to say it's like settling because no one's perfect. You know what I'm saying? So
Nobody's perfect. Yeah,
I don't want to
nobody's
say,
perfect. We
I don't,
all have to settle in some way. We have to compromise. How about that?
yes,
We're not
compromise.
we're not
Right.
settling, but we're compromising.
But
Um, it is a lot, but to even like go back on like that question or whatever. All right, I dated this guy. He had a kid. Kid was about 4.
hmm
When do they go to pre-K? 4?
pre-K 4, yeah.
4. Okay. First day of pre-K. Now, he caught me at a time in my life where I was about 28, about to be 29 or something like that. And around that time, I had the idea of if I was in a good, stable relationship, I would
hmm
have a child if I could find that. I was like, you know what?
Okay.
I could have a child at about that age. I knew that me and him wasn't going to work out.
hmm
And that was because we were in 2 different states. That's number one. But he traveled a lot. He always came to New York, always. But I didn't like being incorporated in something that, and this is just me, I didn't like the feeling that it gave me being incorporated in stuff that he would talk. Like, he literally texted me and sent me pictures of her. I was like, oh my God, it's her first day of
Oh
school.
yeah, I remember him. I remember him.
And I was just kind of like, this is great. This is a magical moment for you. But mm, I don't
No,
know. I'm not going to say jealous. It's not that I was jealous,
no, you were.
but I kind of was like,
Keep it
I
real.
want this experience, but I'm just not, I don't want to do this experience with you and your daughter. Like, I don't know. It was so weird to me that I just didn't like it. And it's a double-ended sword for me because with him, I knew that there was no winning for him. And that's why I just had to just leave him alone, because I was becoming very toxic for him. Like, I liked him and I really, you know what I mean? Wish that things would have worked out. But then it was like, you talk about your daughter way too much and I don't want to hear it. But then if you didn't talk about your daughter, I'll be like, well, what's going on with your daughter? How come you don't,
Right.
never talk about her? So it's just lose for him. And so, like, I was just like, I'm not even going to do that to him.
I think you just weren't ready. Um, because he was looking. It's to me, it seemed like he was looking for someone to fill that mommy role, and you were not
Yes.
ready to fill that role, which is understandable. And at least you were able to recognize that and be like, you know what, I'm
I'm
not
an
ready for that responsibility because honestly speaking, you would have become a stepmother, and that's not something that's really, it's not a role that's easy for a woman who does not have kids to,
exactly.
you understand what I'm saying? But
Exactly.
in my case, it was a little bit different because I actually have a child. You understand what I'm saying? And the fact that I have a child and I don't even put that type of pressure on my child's father and I'm not intrusive in his life, to me, it was very, very annoying because I'm just like, what the fuck? Like,
Hearing about the kids, I'm hearing about the guy talk about all these things about his kid.
no, it wasn't me hearing about the kid. It
What
was
was
more
annoying?
so that, prime example, we were in the middle of something that was literally like I was in a life and death situation. Okay. And I'm in a life and death situation. And I was like really, really sick. And he came to see me. And the baby mother calls. Okay. And she's like, oh, she needs somebody to watch the kid. She was wherever she was and she needed somebody to watch the kid. So he had to run and go pick up the daughter. Cool. He picks up the daughter. I'm like so sick or whatever. I had no one because I was in New York by myself. My mom and my dad wasn't there. It was just me. Amir was in school at the time. And so I was like literally in the house by myself. So he comes over and I'm like literally, Tanisha, dying. Like I'm in the couch and I'm like dying. Number one, he brings the child over. Okay. Second thing was he had to leave because the baby mother called and either I think she wanted him to come drop off the kid somewhere or the child somewhere or something like that. But basically he had to leave me to go attend to her. And it's just like, why am I dealing with this? Like I feel like I deserve and I may sound selfish and I don't know, maybe it's because I don't put that type of pressure on my son's father. Like I hold things down by myself. Like whatever he does, he does. I try to we co-parent, we're cool, we don't have no beef. But I'm not gonna call this man at 3 o'clock in the morning to tell him, oh, the baby can't sleep. Like I think that's fucking ridiculous.
I know we spoke about that. And yeah, I think it's like also because the guy that I did date that had the teenager, he had not only assured me that the kids were older before, because I told him straight up, it was like second conversation that we ever had. He said, tell me a little bit about yourself. You know, we was doing the whole, tell me about
Definitely.
you tell me about me. Once he, once he told me that he's like, 38, he was like, I'm about to be 39. I have a 15-year-old. No, he didn't tell me that. He said, I have a daughter. I was like, zoop. I said, hey, I think that you're an amazing guy. I told him, I was like, I think you're hella attractive. I mean, you know who we talking about, like attractive. But I had already made it I already said that things could change, you know what I mean? But like for me, I'm really just not in the mood for it. And I was like, listen, right now it's not, I can't date somebody that has kids. I was like, but I think you're an amazing, dope ass person, but I don't even want to take this any further. This was via text message. He said, I'm out right now, but can I call you tonight? Because I really just want to explain something to you. I don't want to say this through text message. I said, okay. He called me that night. He told me that his daughter was 15 years old. And he told me that this won't affect anything that he has going on. And I was like, this is the first time that I've spoken to somebody actually with a child that age. So I was like, okay.
But see,
and it would work.
15 and 16 is completely different. You know what I mean? I'm talking about like small children. At 15 and 16, they're not getting involved with anybody. They can do for themselves. You can speak. You know what I mean? Like it's not that serious. I'm talking about kids that can't, they can't do for themselves.
No.
It's yeah. And
No,
and it's
not doing it, especially if I don't have myself, you know what I mean? And then you know what too, not that this goes for everybody, but like for me, sometimes I think like even when I was dating that guy that had the older kids, and I was thinking like, if I had a son, would this have worked out for us? You know what I mean? Like the stuff that we were doing, would you have been so bending? I feel like we bend a lot as women to
yes, girl.
compromise.
Yes.
But like, would you go through this whole thing? Like if my ex-husband or whatever, my child's father was calling me while you was on the couch and you were sick, and I had to come over with my son, and then my baby father is like, hey, I need you to come home, blah blah blah, would he talk to you the next day?
Exactly.
They're not so lenient.
And I
They're
think
not so lenient. They're not so forgiving.
no, and men are so, to me, I feel like a lot of men are very biased, and they talk a good game because like I said, I have a child, so my dating pool is like very like slim, and I I mean it. I don't mind dating a guy with a child as long as he sets boundaries with the child mother. But nine
Mm-hmm.
out of 10 times, these niggas don't know how to set boundaries. So that's that. Um, the thing is that I feel like if in my situation, if the tables was reversed, they'll say, "Oh, they don't care." But until they're in that situation, trust and believe. They act like they don't care, but they would care.
They
They
do
care.
care.
They would care.
Or they go about their lives and then they do things that they wouldn't do in front of you. And when I say that, I want to say they cheat, but I'm just gonna say they do things because they like, oh, I never cheated. No, once you do something, because everybody have their own definition of cheating.
Right.
My whole thing is you're gonna end up doing things that you would not have done in my face.
Like, what do you mean? Like, if
Next
the
thing you know, he's
situation was,
entertaining somebody else. He's entertaining another girl that's less complicated or have less baggage.
yeah, exactly,
That's what they do. You know
exactly.
what I mean? They still
Right.
talk to you. You know what I'm saying? Like, because I like have a lot of guy friends, and they'll tell me, they'll be like, most of my guy friends, they're always saying like they talk to a girl. There's not many of them that, and I've seen some take girls that have children that's young very seriously, but that's because we prove so much. You know what I mean? Like we
Mhm.
make it very like I
Clear.
would find, yeah, we make it very clear, even with like some relationships that I was in before, the guy would always know my every move. The guy
Mhm.
just knows my every move. Like if I'm leaving work, I'll just, throw a little text message out there like, hey babe, just left work. You know what I mean? I'll call
Yeah.
you when I get
Yeah.
inside, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like guys don't give that trail, you know what I mean?
They don't.
They're never like, hey babe, just left work, driving home. Hey, I'm gonna stop at the supermarket real quick. They don't give all this paper trail.
Right.
So for us, we are kind of always on the opposite end, just like thinking about or just assuming because you just want to believe. You're like, you know what? You think about him and you're like, oh, he might be at work. Maybe that's why he called me. You know what I mean? Or you just assume certain things. And I feel like the guys, they'll they'll talk to a woman that has a child because they know that most 9 out of 10 times we're home with our kids. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? Like
Exactly.
they know exactly what we're doing. While on the other hand, if we were not the ones that was home with our kids, they'll be wondering, what we're doing. And they probably wouldn't talk to us.
No, you're absolutely right, and I agree with you 100%. I just feel like we as Black women, we always have to deal with the most. We always have to deal with the most. We are expected to give, give, and give, and we always get nothing in return. Like I can't say everybody, but for the most part, you have that small percentage of Black women that they perceive to get what they deserve, but for the most part, like honestly speaking, I'm at a point where I just feel like there's no hope. Like there is no hope for Black women with Black men unless you date outside your race at this point. That's the type of time I'm on. Because I had a friend and she um was having a whole lot of, she didn't have any kids, mind you. She was having a whole lot of issues with dating Black men, and you know what? She picked up a white man with 3 kids.
She picked up a white man with 3 kids. I'm not
Yeah.
trying to pick up nobody.
She's dating a man. She's dating a white guy with 3 kids, and you know what? He treats her like the goddess. Now, if it was a man, if it was the other way around, and I feel like if it was a Black man with 3 kids and he was dating me, I wouldn't get half the treatment. Like he makes it known that this is who he's with. The
Okay,
kids'
so he's
mother,
prioritizing.
exactly. He makes it known. This is who I'm with. This is my wife or whatever. My kid's mother. This is my kid's mother. There's no it's he's never going to put her in a situation to feel uncomfortable, and I feel like when it comes to our men, unfortunately, it's just like we constantly, it's just always
Or so
a
she
battle.
says. I don't know how it is to interracial date, but I know that there has to be some issues there, girl. There gotta be.
Maybe, but from what I know, there wasn't no issues.
She holding it down, girl. Nah, I'm not gonna hate on this girl relationship. Honestly, I'm not losing hope. I know that I know a couple of guys who are in their 30s that don't have kids.
Yeah, but I'm talking
Um,
about, what about the ones, yeah, but do the ones that do have kids, are they going to date a woman with kids? No.
I've spoken to some of them, and no, on based
Exactly.
off of what I've done, or the guys that I spoke to, they always say they're not like opposed to it, but I never really see it happening.
Yeah, because
I don't really see it happening.
every guy that I know that's single in their 30s that don't have any kids, yeah, they're not dating anyone with kids. They're not. They're not at all. And if they are, Like, okay, I met this guy and he was like how he didn't want any kids for him, but he would date a woman with kids. And it's like, if you don't even want no kids of your own, why the hell would you want to pick up a woman with kids? To
Mm-hmm.
me, it was just like, it was just weird to me because I'm like, I don't know about you, buddy. I don't know about you. Like, do you
That
have,
is kind of strange. And how old was he? You said he's in his 30s?
yeah, he's in his 30s. Yeah, so I thought it was a really, really strange that he would say that he didn't want to have kids, but he would date somebody with kids. So that was, to me, was a complete turn off. I was like, yeah, no, you might be a pedophile or some shit.
I've heard women say that though. I've
What?
heard women say that though. Like I've met women that were like, I don't have any kids. He already has his kids, so that's perfect. And I don't think that they necessarily. I mean, it really just depends on the person because you know who. You remember that guy that always used to like never want to tell me his age?
Yes, yes, yes,
Yeah,
yes.
that guy who never wanted to tell me his age. He didn't want any kids.
I think his situation was he couldn't have kids, so mentally he was just like,
I don't know about that, girl. I
I
don't.
don't know.
Well, we don't know. What if he just really didn't want kids, and he's not a bad person? And look, he's with kids all the time.
That to me, that's weird. I'm
That's
sorry.
weird. That's weird. Yeah. I mean, I just do think you know what. Everything has an exception.
Okay.
I feel like everything has an exception. Anything that you do, there's always an exception because I might sit here and say, I'm not going to date a guy that has a child that's under 6 years old. But if somebody came to me and said, well, what if this man really, really loved you and he was a millionaire?
I
I
think
might date a guy with kids. You know what I mean? Like with a 2-year-old. Hey, you know, he really loves me. I'm just saying idealistically for myself, what I'm looking for in a guy is to share that same that first time experience. That would be nice for me to be able to share that. If I can't share that experience, because that's like my number one thing, I kind of just want to share that experience. His first child, my first child, cool. But
mhm.
who knows what might happen, you know, later on down the line, and things just don't work out. Things change, feelings change, people grow separately. Um, at that point now, am I going to say that I don't want to date someone with kids? Now, I think it's the biggest thing for me is having boundaries, like you said, setting
Right.
boundaries with your
Right.
children's mother.
Right.
And then also prioritizing. I'm not trying to come before your child. I'm not even trying to be in the runnings with your child. Like
Right.
I'm completely different. I'm a whole separate entity.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like, so if you do have a child that's a kid, I want to see how you prioritize and make it that I'm me and the kid is just two different. And then if it ever comes to it, then we'll meet, you know, later on. So, and I think that also came with my age.
Mhm.
When I was 22, when I was 24, even 26, um, no, I don't think that that's a good time for you to date a guy that has a kid at that age.
This is
Too
the
much.
thing, though. This is the thing. I don't really think it's a problem dating a guy with kids. I think it's a problem, like you said, or like what I said earlier, when the man. It's always the men, honestly, that want to be in their kids' lives. That always seem to have the most issues because their baby mamas want to have, or their kids' mothers want to have them jumping over hoops, and when they know, because I'm going to give you a prime example. I know someone that has a child with someone that has a child by somebody else. Okay. He has a child with her, but she also has another baby father. The energy that she gives him, she doesn't give to the other baby father. Why? Because the other baby father don't give a fuck. You know what I'm saying? So now you put in pressure on this other person. And that's why I totally agree with Passport Cuddy when she said, you know, oh, it's always the dudes that always want to be involved in their kid's life. And I'm at a point where it's just like, listen, I'm not gonna stop you from being in your kid's life. Like, who the hell am I to tell you? You know what I'm saying? What I'm saying. But if you can't set boundaries, then we don't need to be together. Cause I don't want to be. I don't have time. I don't have time for that. I don't have time for me. I don't want to be involved in no baby mama drama. I'm a grown ass woman. You know what I'm saying? And it just seems like the guys that always suffer the most are either the ones that want to be involved in their kids' life or the ones that still fucking their baby mothers, and they're not being truthful about the situation.
Yeah, that or leading, or they like lead them on. Well, then that's a whole different conversation, because dating a guy with kids doesn't necessarily have to come with baby mama drama. I'm not into any type of drama. I'm not into baby mama drama, and I'm not into ex-girlfriend drama,
Hmm.
because there's ex-girlfriend drama too. You know what I mean? I'm not
Yeah,
into ex-wife drama.
right.
So that's just complete. That's like a whole nother ballgame. If I'm going to date you and you have a child, I don't want any type of arguments with your child's mother. Like that just shouldn't be a thing. And that's why
Girl.
I'm pretty sure that's like done. And yeah, if that's what it's gonna come with, I'm probably will call it a quits too.
Yeah,
Because
exactly,
you have
exactly.
to, because he's in control. I mean, like to an extent, he's in control of the communication between him and his child's mother.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So yeah. So I do think that like that's a whole nother situation right there. As far as dating a man with kids, me personally, the first thing I'm asking is how old is this kid?
Right.
You know, younger than 6. And you know what? I might lose out on the love of my life. Who knows? Because he has a child younger than 6. Because initially, I'm gonna say no. Am I gonna say that like, you know, if he really really pursues me and really shows me that like this is what he wants and that this can work between us, he would have to convince me of that. He would have to do some heavy convincing.
I mean, like what? Like just by telling you, well, he would have to. I get it. Like he would definitely have to show you that this is real.
Show
Like
me.
he has to show you.
Yeah, just
Yeah,
show me that
yeah.
this is not gonna affect us, and you know, we just come to like some. But it's like if I just want to freely date someone, I don't want to have to. I'm not bringing that. I'm not bringing that to us. It's not like, all right, even if we come to a compromise and we're like, okay, we're gonna see each other, you know, every other Thursday. I have my child.
The
Even
thing
that's
is,
gonna be
the th-
exhausting.
the thing is this. Like you know how you're saying like, okay, well, he would have to convince you that it doesn't affect that it wouldn't affect y'all. But the reality of the situation is that when you're dating a man with a child, and you taking the child seriously, what people don't understand is in the long run, if you marry that person or whatever the case may be, it's still going to affect you. Financially is gonna affect you because if you're dating a man with kids and especially if he's on child support and you get married, that is cutting into your household expenses. Okay. It cuts
That's
into
a lot. That's
it's
why you have to really know what you're doing. That's a lot too.
it is.
That's good.
So you can't really say, oh, he has to convince you that it's not going to affect you because technically it's going to affect you. Like, and I hate
Well,
when people say
convincing
that.
me, a part of convincing me would be to show me that you're financially stable to afford your kid, yourself, me, and mine.
And the baby mother, because basically nowadays, in my opinion, child support is mama support because there's a lot of women that are not utilizing child support for that. But that's a whole nother topic. That's a whole nother
Okay.
topic. But
Yes, but no, as far as like that would be a part of the convincing that
yeah,
you have all of that okay and everything is okay over there as far as like financially, as far as your relationship with your child, your relationship with your child's mother and everything. So I hate to say it, but I think you can date a guy, but you just have to really know the place that you are in your life. I know I was not in that place a long time ago. A long time ago, I was not in that place, and it made no sense for me to even do it because it just would have never worked out. And I knew that, and that's why I stopped talking to that guy.
well, at least you were honest with yourself because a lot of women are not really honest with themselves when it comes to certain things. They'll meet a guy, they really like the guy has kids, and they're like, okay, well maybe, and then they realize that you know this is just not for me or whatever. So at least you were clear about that from the beginning, guys. Let us know what you think. Let us know what you think about this episode. You can leave a voicemail or you can leave a comment below. My take is that you know, it's not my first choice, even though I do have a child. Dating a man with a child is really not my first choice. And I know I should not be saying this because I have a child, but from my personal experiences, it just to me it just always comes with a whole lot. And it comes with a lot considering the fact that I have a child of my own and I don't, bring that type of energy to my kid's father. So when I'm in a relationship and I'm seeing that the child's mother is bringing that type of energy, it's kind of like a turn off for me. And it's just like, I don't understand why. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, I don't know. But let us know what you think, guys. Thank you guys for tuning in to this episode. We appreciate all your feedback and all your love. And stay tuned for our next episode. Bye, guys.
Bye.